Hey friends, welcome to the Layli Imadi podcast. I'm so excited to kick off a brand new series for my speakers out there. I'm going to be interviewing some incredible hosts of events within the creative industry, outside of the creative industry. I'm going to be talking to people who are in charge of speaker selection, and we're going to try to get from A to Z on all of the things that you want and desperately have been asking to know about with all of our amazing hosts. So we're kicking it off with none other than the incredible Kellie Penn. She is amazing. She is the owner of the Reset Conference. And Kellie, welcome, and tell us about you. Tell us about the conference, what it is, who it's for, all the things.
Sounds good. Hey, Brand, I'm so glad that you asked me to do this. It's going to be good. It's going to be fun to kind of peel back the curtain to kind of what it all looks like in this process. So I'm happy to be here and to do it.
Yeah, I so appreciate it because I honestly, for our listeners, I was nervous to start this series and to ask people I know who are hosts because I'm like, I want to be fully transparent because it's right now, all I see are like posts on Facebook or Threads or Instagram, like talking about like, this is what you need and this is what you can accept. And I'm like, you guys are wrong. We need to get the truth out here.
And I will share my version of it. So it's going to be great. It's fun. But yeah, I'm Kellie. I am the founder of the Reset Conference. It started with me and Rebecca Albaugh. And so we did it together. I think we hosted 12 or 13 in a row together. And then this past year, she stepped aside to pursue other interests. So now it is me that's doing it. So I knew it was still had such an important place in this industry that I did not want Reset to go away. So I said, I'm going to keep doing it. So I'm thankful to have the opportunity that I get to pour into our industry in this way.
It's amazing.
So Reset is a photography conference and mainly women. We didn't necessarily start it out there to target it to women, but we realized our messaging was definitely geared towards women in the industry. So we do have a handful of male attendees, but predominantly women. And the whole heart behind it was to capture life, live it first. So I felt like for a long time, I was so busy running my business and photographing like crazy hours. But I felt like my family knew the back of my head while I was at my computer working more than they did my face. And I was like, it is time for things to shift. I would be staying up till 2 or 3 a.m. and I was just hitting burnout. The finances were great, but the burnout was real. And so I knew things were out of balance. And the more I talked to more people in the industry, the more they were feeling it too. And I felt like when we were going to conferences, we were being told, hustle harder, hustle harder, hustle harder. And I was like, I'm doing it and I'm dying. It was so hard. So I was like, somehow this messaging has to start flipping and to try to find some balance in how to run our businesses well. I think as creatives, we're not always great at running businesses. We're good at being creative. And so that is one thing that Reset really tries hard to do is to put a lot of business principles into the conference to help those creatives to kind of be able to create systems that work well for them in their business.
Yeah, I love that. And as somebody who, in transparency, I've spoken at Reset 3 times and I have loved it every time. And I really admire the variety of like topics and speakers and skill sets that you cater to. And I think you do it beautifully. And so I'm excited to like have this conversation. And it's really interesting to me because the 3 times I've been there have like spanned over time, right? And so I've been able to kind of see like the changes that have happened and the things that you're focusing on each year kind of changing, but the core of it has stayed the same. And I love that because I feel like as individuals who own events and conferences, like it's so different than when a corporation starts a conference or has a conference. And we'll talk about that in the context of the rest of the episode as well. But I just like, it's been such a great place for me personally. And as someone who is very, very picky, I mean, I just really am. Because this is our job. So like everywhere we go, we're like taking in every little detail. And I've always really loved my experiences at Reset. So
Thank you. It
Yeah,
means a ton because it's a lot of work pulling these things off, as you know. It's exhausting, but it's so rewarding at the same time.
it is honestly like that's a whole nother conversation.
Right. That's a
like I
separate
we've joked,
podcast.
I know, and we've jokingly said, and like jokingly slash like not jokingly at all. I was like last time I was at Reset, which was just this past year. Like I came maybe like 2 weeks before my own conference, and I was like, Kelly, can we start a support system? Like, can we start a support group?
It's kind of needed.
Like kind of joking, ha ha ha, but like also I need you. But
Same girl. Same.
so hard. So hard. All right, let's talk about speaker selection because that's what people are here for.
Yeah.
I want to know, how do you typically go about selecting your speakers? I know that you have your application process. Do you do pitches, applications, or do you also invite speakers? And like, what's the balance there? Like, how much is application versus invitation if you do?
Perfect. So I would say application is nearly like 95 to 100%, just depending on if there is a hole that I see that is there after all applications have been received. Every year we're receiving record number of applications, which is exciting and overwhelming all at the same time. But one thing as I start to go through, I will look for diversity of speakers, diversity of topics, and then things start to kind of narrow down and funnel pretty quickly once we start doing that. But yeah, I definitely source it through, like I put it out on social media that there is the application that's happening. It's on the website. I let my former speakers know that were there the year before. And then they start organically inviting their friends that they know would be a good fit for the conference.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen that again firsthand. I've shared your application with my students and my clients, and it's so fun to see when they all, the ones that get selected and the ones that don't. It's like you just said, you get a record number. Like, how many would you say on average you get in the past couple of years?
Yeah, every year it's been going up. This year was probably closer to 130, 140, somewhere in there.
Oh, wow.
But it's a lot when you start trying to narrow it down to like 30 classes. So, and there are so many amazing ones that it is brutal and so hard when we go through it. But it's
like the hardest
thing. So
thing
cool. It is. Yeah, it is like crushing as I do it. I am a people pleaser by nature, and the saying no is the absolute worst part. But
yeah, we get about around 100 and for like 6 spots.
Yeah, and it's so hard.
It's rough
like
stuff out there.
Yeah,
it's really rough. That is crazy. Okay, so these are some questions that I kind of like asked my community, what do you want to know? What are people not telling you? Like, what do you feel like you can't get a straight answer on?
Yeah.
So how important in those applications, how important is a relationship with with you as a host of the event in relation to getting selected? Is that something you take into consideration or no?
It is something I take into consideration. It's not a deciding factor because I definitely hire people year after year that I've never met before Reset. So when they show up, it's like a hug and hey, welcome to the crew. But there are people who have been with me for a while and they are like a champion in the industry for me. Like I know when they're going to some of the larger conferences, they're telling vendors about me. They're telling other attendees about me. And that's a big deal. Like I know if they are speaking about my conference in other areas besides just showing up and speaking at the event, then that holds a lot of weight for me in bringing them back because someone who is my cheerleader, I want to have in my corner. So that is a big, huge part of it.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's a balance. Like you want fresh faces every time, but also there is something to be said about relationship building. Like that's not like a myth, but it's also not a reason not to apply. So
right. For sure.
I love that.
And that is one thing that I do whenever I spread out all my applications and stuff. Like I color code my applications, which sounds kind of funny, but I do. And then once I have it all spread out, I'm trying to see how many new faces do I have on my lineup each year. Cause I want to make sure there's a good amount because for a while we had some attendees say, we love your conference. We love coming every year, but they felt like it was kind of same faces. And so as much as I love my people, I had to cut some to add more. So now I'm trying to be super intentional of fresh faces each year.
I love that. That's actually another question that I didn't like write down, but I was always curious about is like, because I have a really firm like policy about returning speakers. Do you have a policy around that, or is it just kind of like you're conscientious of it?
I'm just conscientious of it.
Okay.
There's, like I said, there's some people that I feel like are my cheerleaders. There are others I know that Reset has a lot of value to them, and I can see that their community comes with them to it, and they love it, and so it's so fun to see. But then I do want to leave room for others who are trying to get a foot in this industry and a platform to speak. So, and then there's usually a couple spots that I leave in my speaker lineup for Reset attendees that are applying to speak for the first time. So they have been loyal, they have been coming, and they want a chance. And so I try to always leave 1 or 2 spots open for past attendees to get to have a chance to speak and educate.
Yeah, I love that so much. And I think as somebody who works, obviously like works with speakers myself, I feel like there's something so special about that in your space that I've seen. And generally speaking, I will say, like, I think most of us who run our own conferences, we try really hard to like put our community in positions that they would maybe have a harder time finding elsewhere. So I love that you guys do that too.
Thanks.
Well, you mentioned color coding your applications, like as they come in. Can you like break down like your general review process?
Yeah. So, like I said, let's peel back the curtain. What does it look like when I'm trying to do it? I'm overwhelmed and I'm drinking a ton of coffee as it's happening.
Same.
But what I do is I go through application by application. Mm-hmm. I do look at following to see, are they brand new in the industry, or have they been around for a while? Do they have a large platform? That is not a deciding factor for me, but it is a weighing factor. So I have a whole spreadsheet of all of my like metrics I start looking at. I look at the class topics that are proposed, and hot tip, I do recommend people propose more than one class topic, because that gives me, you have a much better chance at making the lineup when you offer more than one.
Yeah.
But then as I start to do it, I will start, I have my like automatic no's. I just know is not the right fit. So those, you kind of like, I'll color code them red, like it just wasn't the right fit for this year. But then I have my list of like maybes and yeses. And then once I do that, I have these like big I have a big kitchen table here, dining room table. And then I have these big poster boards. And then I basically start to mock up a schedule. And so I tend to have like each day and each time block, I have a business section. I have like a reset/business focused class. I'll have a wedding class, seniors/branding, and then like newborn family. So if there's like 5 classes happening at the same time, I'm trying to make sure they're all kind of hitting. And so then once I do that, it starts to funnel pretty quickly. It's like, okay, this is a strong yes in a wedding category. So then I'll put them on my little pretend schedule. And so then as I start doing that, it's all of a sudden, it's like, oh gosh, I have 10 left and there's 2 spots or whatever of strong ones. And so then I have to really look at the topics and decide which ones I think people are most interested in right now. But it's like a big puzzle. It really is. And then as I do that, and as I have like one made up, then I'll go through and like color code them green if they're new, because I want to make sure that there's new people that are going to be represented. And so then it's like, okay, I only have a couple. So then I need to kind of flip it up, switch some more people around. So it's names going on, off. And then I'm like wanting to throw up on the side because it's so hard, because I just love these people. So that is where it is the absolute hardest, when you love the people. And I do, like, they aren't just names to me, like they are people I love and have invested in my conference. So I super am thankful. And so it's always a hard thing for me to do it. But
I can relate to that.
It is. It's just, I'm like, I'm a people pleaser. I love the people. I don't want to make anybody upset. But when I have to like put on my CEO pants and think what looks best for the conference, and what are my attendees wanting to learn from, then it's when I get out of my own head and put the conference there, it really starts to get a lot easier.
Yeah. Yeah. And so do you do this all by yourself, or do you do most of it alone and then like call in for opinions here and there?
Yes, most of it alone. But then as I start to narrow it down more, then like this year I was talking with like Rebecca on some more things, like getting her counsel on it. My husband's been a part of it, and I'll have like basically just a team of people that can start to kind of put eyes on it. but it is mainly me doing the majority of it. And then just for things I may have overlooked or holes or just need another
Like a gut check.
opinion. Yeah. Then I'll outsource that part.
I love that. Okay. That is like, even to me, I'm like visualizing it and I'm like, okay, I love this. Maybe I'm going to have to like get my giant Post-its out and like try that.
It's kind of fun to see it all put together that way.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. It's just neat to build it.
It's like, well, and in your situation, like you said, you have 30 like you have what, 30, you said 30 classes or
this year, because there were so many strong ones. I'm adding one more teaching block to it because I couldn't say no to all the people.
And I love that. Like, that's such good insight that like you are willing to be flexible and add more in, or like, you know, what year to year. That's so interesting too. Cause we do everything main stage at mine, but you have breakouts. So that's more opportunity.
That's what, and I was like, you know what? People are paying for education. We can just stay a little later if they want, or if they want to go to dinner early, they can bounce, but it's there and it's an option for them. So
I love that. That's amazing. Well, you answered a couple of my questions in that, which I'm so glad I asked you to like break down your process, because the audience size thing is always such a big question for people. I love the way that you put that it's like you factor it in, but it's not a determining factor. It's would you say it's more to like speak to their experience level? Because I know that you had said like if they're new.
I look at experience level. How are they talking about other conferences or other things that they've attended? If I see that they are good at sharing about it, then with their platform, then that makes me happy, because that's something that we do ask for our speakers to do, is to share with their communities that they have been selected. I also look and see like when's the last time they've posted. So if it has been 9 months since they posted on Instagram, then they're probably not going to be posting much about my conference on Instagram.
Right.
And so that's some things that I kind of look, I'm like, oh, their work is great, but they haven't really done much for a long time. And I mean, I can be guilty of that myself in my own business. Sometimes you're just so busy running the business that you haven't done much of it. So like I said, it's a weighing factor, but there's still something that's like, ooh, but that class is magic that my people need to know about, then okay. But I try to look at all the things. Like they said, there's so many metrics that you can kind of like play into and weigh into. But if someone has like a following of like, 400,000, it's like, well, that's a pretty solid following that I might want to like really look into. But if they are never talking about stuff, then maybe not. So it's
like, maybe it doesn't, like, where did that following come from? And I like that you dig deeper too, because I've run into that before where I've had people apply and they might have like a massive following, but I'm like, where's the engagement's really low, or like, what are you talking about? Where did these people come from? Who are these people? Like,
I do look at engagement too, which I know is not necessarily fair because Instagram can penalize all of us at times. But I'm like, if you have a huge following, but you're only getting like 12 likes on posts,
that's less than me with my tiny following. Like, there's a problem.
I was like, then maybe we're not connecting. We're not hitting into algorithms. So those are all things that I look at. Like I said, weighing factors. But if it's one of those that I'm comparing A to B, and that is the thing that ended up making them win, then that is kind of, it's a factor.
For sure. I jotted down to a couple of other things that I know that I love that you gave the tip about pitching more than one idea. People get so scared about that. Like I run a mastermind for speakers and we're in session right now, and they all have asked me like, is it bad if I pitch 2? And I'm like, no, pitch 2, pitch 3. Like, that's why we have those signature talks and topics, because I start my process on topic first. So it's like, maybe I love you, but if the topic doesn't make sense for my event, right? Like,
that is a huge part of it. Also, having the whole topic fleshed out, it's a major thing with me. If you just, because I put in there, I want your class title and description. Please be like thorough. If not thorough, it'll be automatically rejected. And so I don't
want one sentence.
No. I'm like, what do you want to teach on? Headshots. Great. But what does that mean? Or what, it's something, it's like, I need to know more. So if you're giving me nothing, then it's an automatic no. And like, if the whole application is just 2 or 3 words on each thing, I know there wasn't time and thought put into it. So that that is one of those deciding factors. It's like someone else put a lot of time and thought and energy into it where this person didn't. So that is one that just gets cast to the side. Like, you may be super talented, but you didn't put in the work on that
100%. And because that, I feel like as a host, at least for me, would you say, like, I feel like that paints a picture of how much work you're going to put into your presentation and to my people. So
yeah, the well-developed title and description, and like attendees will walk away with, and like the things that they are like adding, or they'll get a PDF or they'll get some of these things. The more I can see the whole person's vision for their class, the more I'm like, yes, that is someone I want, because I have a lot of trust built into it, because you can see class start to finish what it looks like.
Yeah.
So high fives to
a well-developed picture.
Yes, high fives to you and the work that you're doing in this industry to make that happen. Because I do feel like people who come from your conference that are applying to my conference, you can see the work that goes into it. So high fives.
I'm gonna cry.
I'm proud. It was so cool this year to see like you and then the people who have invested in your conference, like getting photos and stuff with you. And it's like, I can see the work and the difference that it's making. So good job, Laylee.
Thank you, Fran. Honestly, like, as a side note, when I took a group photo at Reset this year, and I don't think I even realized before, because I posted like in my Facebook where I was like, if anybody else is at Reset, like, I'd love to see you before like our conference, like, let's all meet up. And people just like, all these people who were on the speaker docket, like speakers and attendees. Mm-hmm. And I was like, so many of the speakers are my attendees. And I'm not gonna lie, I literally had like a full like sob fest of like.
I bet you did.
It was wild. But anyway, thank you for that. That means a lot.
You're welcome.
I literally got emotional. Bye.
Big love for you. Big love.
Woo. Okay. We're fine. Did not anticipate that happening. I wrote down when you were talking about how you mark things off as a red, really, like you're like, this is an immediate no. And you mentioned a couple things that were like an immediate no. What are maybe like a couple things that you're immediately drawn to and immediately turned off by?
Perfect. So immediately drawn to, I would say things that are different in the industry. It is funny though, because a lot of people will all submit the same thing that they have decided is different in the industry that year. Like so many things this year, right now it's all about AI and all those, but I'm like, I don't need 400 classes on AI, but that is so many people's pitches were on AI this year, but it's like, who's doing it different? And then I know like for my attendees, a lot of my attendees have been in business 10 years or more. Yeah. So I am looking at, if I am in this business for 10 years, what do I want to know now? So that is something that I look at as well. I mean, we still have some classes that are for like a newer photographer or someone who's a little further in their journey. But I do know a lot of my people have been in business for a long time. Yeah. So it is, I try to think through those things. So as I look, it's like, ooh, that's a cool take on something. Or it's how to diversify their income within photography, whether it's through adding education or through adding stuff to sell on their site. Some of those things, it's letting people know ways to make more with what they have. Yeah. So I think that is something that people who've been in the business for a while are just like yearning for. So it's just fresh and new ideas for those who have been in it, I guess is something that I really look for. And like red flags, like I said, it's lack of thought into it. Another red flag is if it just doesn't really align with my conference and my messaging, and it's something that would probably be like, hustle harder, work 80 hours a week and make $8 million. Great, maybe not my conference. So it's just some of those things, because I know that messaging won't transfer. So I do look at knowing the typical attendee, what will work in their like hearts and lives for that. So I'd say that's a big part for me. Yeah. And if I look at their portfolio, I'm like, it's just someone that just I don't think is going to mesh with me and my conference. And it's so let me know.
Yeah, I'm with you on it. That is so helpful. Okay, let's switch gears and talk about what everybody is constantly confused about, if I'm being honest, and that is compensation and value. So it's interesting because before we hit record, we chatted about this a little bit for our listeners. I see constantly on social about people people have very strong opinions about getting paid. And I get it because I also have strong opinions about getting paid. However, there is so much nuance when it comes to individually run businesses, events versus corporate events, creative industry events versus, things that are sponsored or more like I said, corporate or whatever. And so there's so much that goes into it. And as we started this series, my goal and my team's goal was to bring forward as much information as possible. And I want to, this being our first episode into this, which by the way, you are awesome for being like, yes, I'm down. I want to give the caveat here that as somebody who has now been in every set of shoes, you know what I mean? I have been the speaker wanting desperately to get paid. I have been the host. I have been the consultant and the speaker selection committee leader. I have been a speaker liaison. I've literally been in now every position, and I've been the corporate speaker. And so and before that, I was in a university setting where we had a good amount of budget. I just have seen it all. And there's so much to consider when it comes to speaker compensation versus value of an event and decision-making. And that's why I created my course, the sought after speaker system. And it has an entire unit on profitability because there's so much to be said about this. So that's my caveat, is that I don't believe that there's a right or wrong. I just believe that there's information, and that if we can understand where these decisions are being made, then we can best decide what's worth it for our time as a speaker or as a host or whatever. So let's talk about money.
Sounds good. Everybody's favorite topic.
Oh my God, I know. Let's talk money. We're going to be... Right. I always say it's funny because I have so many mindset issues around money that I have had to work through as a business owner for the past, 13 years of I am a child of immigrants. It's culturally not great for me to talk about we just are so weird about it. And so I'm trying to put on my, I'm trying to be a man. I'm trying to be a regular man and just be you know what? Let's talk about it.
We got this, girl.
It's going to be great. So Shanna Skidmore would be so proud of me right now. She has literally told me from the beginning, you just have to get over it. Let's talk about it. Okay. Do you pay your speakers?
So with my conference, like we said, I am an individual running a conference. So
She's
it is
hi, I'm Kellie.
That's right. Hi, it's me. It's my family that signs all those contracts, and the weight of the financial responsibility with the venues, with the hotel block, all of that rests on my personal shoulders.
Yes.
It isn't a corporation with a membership committee and all of that the membership fees are going to pay for the event. It is my family. And that is a scary thing every year when I sign that contract, how much I'm going to owe if this doesn't pan out. And my family doesn't have that. I have 2 kids in college. We are it's crazy, but I just know and trust every year the community. And so even though I want to throw up as I sign the contract every year at these venues, I know that I have a good amount of people that will show up and support. So I'm thankful for those that show up and support. It's a big deal for the individual. It's a big deal for everyone when they sign those, but for the individual that it is riding on their family's shoulders and not a company that has a budget for if things go wrong. But so for me, whenever I put it out in the application, you'll see in there that compensation is your ticket to reset. Okay. And so that is basically you come in, you do your teaching, and then you also get to be an attendee at the event. I do have style sheets and mentorships that they can opt on to, so then you can gain a little extra bonus from those. And we also allow speaker sponsorships. And then those I don't get in the way of. I let the person negotiate that with whoever what brands that they work with. So if it's, hey, I work with a certain lab, great. You and the lab can discuss travel compensation or speaking stipends. And so then that works out really well, that I'm not setting the bar for where that has to be. I'm letting that go with them and the person that they have a relationship with. Yes, with that company. So, and then once that happens, I make sure that those companies are included in their class title. It'll be listed there. It's on their signboard outside the class. I ask that they include it in their logo and their presentation, just all those things so that business gets representation for what they poured into that speaker. So where I can't do it because of the amount of like food and beverage, people have no idea how much that costs at a venue. It's insane.
It's insane.
Insane. And I mean, everything is insane when you run an event. Yeah. And people just have no clue. And that's okay. They don't have to. That's part of the job of doing this is that I've learned. I go to a conference for conference planners every year, and I learn more and more about the nuances of running an event and the costs behind it. And so I understand more why the hotels charge what they do, even though I'm like, you charge how much for a pot of coffee? Like, it's insane. Like $60? That's quite crazy. But I understand now more in that. And so I think by me investing in education as a conference owner, it's helped me be able to make the decisions that I have in there. And I feel good about it. But yeah, it's one of those, I wish I could do more in that. Yeah. And maybe someday that will be able to be more of a thing. I would say post-COVID, numbers shrunk across the board everywhere. And so when we're like at the point, we're like, okay, I think we can, then the numbers dip down a bit. So it's kind of like, okay, now we're kind of getting back into footing. So it's just, so I'm just trying to create other opportunities within. I also allow speakers to share the things that they're selling at it. So if it's like, hey, I have courses and I want to share those with my attendees, is that okay? Yes. So, I want them to be able to share the things that they have to offer to the attendees as well.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And you kind of answered several of my questions anyway, especially the one about ensuring that the experience is still valuable and like, how are you allowing, I guess, for speakers to make sure that they are leaving not, in the red for themselves. And I think you just answered that with sponsorships. And again, so it's for our listeners, this is one event, right? And every event has different rules around this. So some don't even allow sponsors, even if it's unpaid. I love that you allow pitches. And I know that you're really cognizant, I think, of making sure that your speakers aren't like standing up there and doing an hour-long pitch, and your speakers know that too. Again, this is a great conversation because I have been one of your speakers, so I can say, like I would never do that, and I think I would never do that, but I've left making a profit because it was worth it to me. So that being said, in your opinion, how can speakers decide when an opportunity is worth it, even if it's unpaid?
I would say, look at also what you're going to get from it. Like, is this conference look like something that you want to align yourself to? Like, is it going to make sense for you to enter the room? And then once you're there, I would say also just diving into the conference itself is such a big thing. Like, I love when my speakers are in other speakers' classes and showing up. I'm like, part of your compensation is that you get to be a part of the conference. So go be a part of the conference. When people spend their time in their room and away from everyone, and like, you just lost the magic of this event. So I think
go connect and learn and
and because I think the connection points are when people get to know, like, and trust you, and then they will then invest in your events and things that you're doing as well, your education. And I will say that is one thing that you talked about a little bit ago, is that I went to some of those like bigger conferences, and I would go into class and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so excited to learn from this person. And I felt like let me drop one tiny little nugget, and then you too can buy this course for $12,000 and learn how to do what I do. And I'm like, wait, what? That is not what I came from. So that is came for. I'm like, that is one thing I think that I worked really hard on with Reset, is I did not want it to be just like a little commercial jingle for everybody's stuff. Like, I want it to be an actual class with actual learning, with actual like meat and potatoes, not just like fluff. So that's been a big thing for me.
Yeah, I love that. And I agree. I think really deciding on, is it a place that you would want to be, even if you weren't a speaker, is like number one. And then what's the audience? Like, again, are you able to find compensation through sponsorships or through other conversations? Do you have any kind of like tiered system or anything that you do for, like, for example, for keynotes versus breakouts? I stole this from Show It.
Sounds good. So yes, keynotes do get a compensation because it is a full platform talk that will be given to everybody else. So that they do get a compensation for their time and effort in that. And then the breakouts, like I said, get the ticket plus then the ability to earn in other areas if they would like. Yep. And so, and also our keynotes could, if they wanted to do some of those other opportunities they have as well. But
yeah, I do. And I feel like, you know, before I ask the follow-up question that I have for that one, it's interesting because I feel like it's harder to incorporate a company. Like, as a speaker, when I reach out for a sponsorship, I want to make sure I'm actually like promoting that company in my talk. So this is just kind of like a little bonus hint for speakers out there. When you're thinking of who to sponsor your talk, it should align. And so I think when you have something like a full conference talk, it's harder to organically incorporate a company. So I love that you make that differentiation when you are compensating your speakers. Are there other qualifications that you look for a keynote speaker versus a breakout speaker?
I would say with keynote, it is class specific, knowing the heart of Reset, like what are the messaging, like I said earlier about the capture life, live it first, some of those type of things. And I may be like, who has a good story out there that really seems to resonate within the industry, or who is just really nailing this area of it. And sometimes it's people might reach out to me and be like, hey, I just heard this person speak and they were incredible. And so then I'm like, all right, let me kind of look. And then I'm like, I usually will reach out to my keynotes versus pulling them from the list of applications. Yeah. So those are the spots. And there's two in my event that I will outsource a little bit more, like I will seek. And not always. Sometimes I'm like, ooh, this one's brilliant, and I'm pulling this one on up. But I do tend to just see who's doing something in the industry that I want my people to know about.
I love that. I think it's going to be so helpful for people to understand like the differences too, and see that, you know, it's interesting because the first few years I spoke at creative industry things, I preferred breakouts to keynotes. Like, I just really enjoyed having those like one-on-one connections in a smaller group. And now I feel like I love both for different reasons, but I just think it's nice for people to hear the thought process behind the selection too. So I love that. Thank you. To wrap us up here, this has been so much information for people to like marinate on, and honestly, like, again, super helpful for me too, just like host to host. But if somebody is listening right now and they are hoping to speak at Reset one day, what's a piece of advice you would give to them? What's something that they can be doing right now to get on your radar?
So one, I would suggest attending my event. So if they haven't attended and it's something that you want to speak at, it's nice to come in and they can be like, hey, I'm so-and-so. And then when I get to meet you and have conversations with you at the welcome event, or I'm sitting next to you at lunch, those things, like I'm just starting to like get to know you and develop a relationship. And then when that application comes through, it's like, ooh, that's so-and-so. And I really enjoyed my time with that person. So that is, I would say, a big helpful part. And then, like I said, it's multiple pitches and I would suggest anybody really look at the website of where they're attending and where they're wanting to speak, and look at it and say, what is the goals of this conference, and how can I align with those goals and present a class that would really make sense at this event. So I think that is a big help with it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing and being so open and willing to like you said, peel back the curtain and really let people see like the crazy things that we do. This has been so helpful. And are tickets available for Reset right now for any photographers who are listening?
They are. Yep. I would love to have you join us. Please come. It's going to be fun in Chattanooga this year. That city is great. The food is good. There's so many like attractions and scenic views. Like, it's a great city to be a part of. So, and I mean, the event itself is worth it. We could be meeting in the middle of nowhere and it would still be great, but Chattanooga is awesome.
100%. But it doesn't like the cuteness helps. I like it. I love Chattanooga. So it's going to be really fun. Oh, that's amazing. All right, y'all, go check out Reset. We'll link everything for you in the show notes. And Kellie, thank you again for being here.
Thanks, Laylee. I appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the Layli Amati podcast. If you found value in today's episode, it would mean the world if you would leave a review or share it with a friend who's on their journey to becoming an industry educator or speaker. Want more support as you grow? Head to layliamati.com for free resources and more information on how we can work together. Until next time, keep showing up, keep sharing your voice, and keep leading with purpose.